It's 8:30 on March 20th, 2020. I'll call the City of Peru Common Council emergency meeting to order. Roll call.
Anderson.
Here.
Guston.
Here.
Ramsey. Mark Ramsey.
I thought Mark was on.
Can't hear you.
Mark Ramsey.
Here.
Okay. Russell.
Patricia
I'm
Russell.
here.
Okay.
Flotho.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Sahadachini.
I'm on my end over here.
Okay.
Over here.
Anderson's here in person, the rest are all on the phone.
Okay. That being said, on this emergency meeting, we're opening for business on
I
the,
thought it was a video call.
No, it's a telephone call. The city doesn't have the capabilities of doing a video conference chat like this. However, state law, under emergency action, we're allowed to have these type of video conferences now, or sorry, telephonic conferences for council meetings, as long as one member is physically present, which is why Steve Anderson is here on his lonesome at the very end. So.
we
having
are
a hard
separated
time
by
hearing.
at least 8 feet.
Yeah, we're having a hard time hearing.
I can,
You guys are talking in your microphone. That's
I don't know if that would hurt.
It's not gonna help.
Is there a microphone for us?
Susan and Jay, both of them sit up there.
Yeah.
I think
We can hear Miles, but we can't hear anybody else.
We're moving that way you guys can try to hear us a little better.
That's better.
Okay. So, I believe it was Betsy asked about this, she thought this was going to be a video conference. The city does not have the capability of being able to perform something like that at this time. And
All right.
state law allows us to have this teleconference in emergency times when declared by the governor, which is why we're trying to pass the resolution to waive the certain procedures and formalities as required normally by the open door law.
Perfect.
Okay, with that being said, first order of business, City of Peru Common Council Resolution number 7 of 2020 states, a resolution waiving certain procedures and formalities during disaster emergencies pursuant to IC 10-14-3-17. Whereas on March 6, 2020, the Governor of Indiana declared a public health emergency for coronavirus disease 2019 outbreak, otherwise known as COVID-19, pursuant to IC 10-14-3-12, and whereas on March 13th, 2020, the President of the United States declared a national emergency for the same, and whereas IC 10-14-3-17 gives the City of Peru the authority to waive procedures and formalities otherwise required by law as a result of the disaster emergency declaration, and whereas IC 10-14-3-17 parentheses J parentheses 5 states in part, a political subdivision may, in the event of a national emergency or disaster emergency, as provided in section 12 parentheses IC 10-14-3-12 of this chapter, waive the procedures and formalities otherwise required by law pertaining to, among other things, the appropriations and expenditures of public funds. Whereas IC 34-4-8-5 states in part, a city board or legislative body may allow a claim only at a meeting of the board of legislative body, and whereas the common council for the city of Peru desires to avoid the disruption of city government and essential city services that COVID-19 may create, and whereas the common council for the city of Peru recognizes concerns for public health due to COVID-19 may prevent the council from meeting to conduct its business and affairs, including the approval of claims required by law, and now, therefore, it be hereby resolved by the common council of the city of Peru, Indiana, that the common council for the city of Peru, Indiana, that the procedures to appropriate claims set forth in IC 36-4-8-5 shall be waived in the event that common council president or applicable board president chairperson determines that the council or the applicable city board is unable to hold a meeting due to public health concerns arising out of the COVID-19 would otherwise have been presented at the meeting. So resolved by the Common Council of the City of Peru, Indiana, in regular session assembled this 20th day of March 2020. At this time,
Mayor, you skipped one of the integral lines, and I can read that.
okay, go ahead.
It says, in the event the common council president or applicable board president or chairman determines that the council or
I can't hear.
it says, in the event the common council president or applicable board president chairperson determines that the council or the applicable city board is unable to hold a meeting due to public health concerns arising out of COVID-19, at which point, or at which time the city fiscal officer, being the clerk treasurer, is hereby authorized by the council to pay any valid claims that would otherwise have been presented at the meeting. The mayor had,
You're doing good, and then it went away.
okay.
Yeah.
The important line that the mayor had read out, it says, due to public health concerns arising out of the COVID-19, at which time the city fiscal officer, being the clerk treasurer, is hereby authorized by the council to pay any valid claims that would otherwise have been presented at the meeting. So it's just giving the clerk treasurer the authority to make those claims, or pay those claims that are valid.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, a motion to accept the resolution.
I move we consider Resolution 7,
Second.
2020.
I second.
Anderson,
Yes.
Guston,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Sahadashini,
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, now we need a motion to adopt Resolution 7.
So moved.
That Tom?
Second.
Yes, Tom.
Yeah.
Who's second?
Pete.
Mark?
Oh,
Mark.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Anderson,
Yes.
Guston,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Yes.
Russell, Syedashini,
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, motion passed.
Are you going to email us, excuse me, are you going to email us all these resolutions?
You were
So we
emailed,
can
They have
read them
been-
too?
you were already
They were already
emailed.
mailed. I've got my printout right in front of me here.
Yeah, they were all emailed at the same time.
Okay, well, I didn't see that email, sorry.
Okay. Moving on, next order of business under the emergency meeting is City of Peru Common Council Ordinance Number 11, 2020. This is an ordinance of the Common Council, City of Peru, Indiana, to amend Ordinance Number 18, 2019, in parentheses 2020, which is wage ordinance for the appointed officials and employees for all departments of the city. Whereas the City of Peru, Indiana has caused public notice to be placed in the Peru Tribune, and whereas the City of Peru 2020 wage ordinance, Ordinance 18, 2019, as ordinance establishing salary and wages of the civil employees and appointees for the year 2020 needs to be amended, and whereas the City of Peru 2020 wage ordinance was previously amended by Ordinance 2, 2020, and whereas the Common Council desires to amend 2020 salary ordinance to provide for pay for employees in certain declared emergency circumstances. Now, therefore, be it hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of Peru, Indiana, that, number one, it is the best interest of the City of Peru to amend the City of Peru 2020 wage ordinance, City of Peru Ordinance 18, 2019, and add the following. Stay home pay during a declared emergency. The mayor of the City of Peru may require some non-critical or non-essential or all employees to refrain from coming to their workstation in the event of a national emergency or state of disaster emergency as provided under IC 10-14-3-12. In the event of such emergency declaration, the mayor may provide that employees directed to refrain from coming to work receive pay, hourly and/or salaried, for their regularly scheduled non-overtime work hours. Emergency stay-home pay, subjects to the following condition. If some or all of employee job functions can be performed from home, the employee is expected to perform these functions from home during the employee's regular scheduled non-overtime work hours. During the employee's regular scheduled non-overtime work hours, during the emergency, the employee is considered on call and therefore must be available by phone to respond to calls from other city officials and must be available to return to their workstation within 2 hours of notice from their supervisor, mayor, or his or her designee. Under C, the employee may not work or earn compensation from any other source during employees' regularly scheduled non-overtime work hours, i.e. for which the employee would earn employee stay-home pay. And the amendment set forth above supersedes any inconsistent provisions in the 2020 salary ordinance. All other portions of the 2020 salaried ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. This amendment to the 2020 salary ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Increases or changes in the payment schedule when implemented will be prorated prospectively.
I move we consider ordinance 11, 2020.
Second.
I second.
I have a question.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question. Can I have a question?
Go ahead.
We need to
Go ahead.
Okay, so will this retroact pay as well for this week for those who've had to stay home?
We have had no police that has to stay home at this time.
Okay. All right, I beg your pardon, go ahead.
This is for, this will be for them should it come to that, but right now we have no emergency personnel that are being required to stay home. They are functioning as necessary.
Okay, I beg your
We
pardon.
do have 2 officers that are sick at this time,
Yeah,
but neither one of them can get the coronavirus test at this
but they're
time.
covered, okay, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, motion been made to adopt and seconded. Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes,
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
yes,
Sahadashini,
Yes.
and Wolf.
yes.
I move that we adopt ordinance 11, 2020. Second.
Second.
Anderson,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes,
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
yes,
Sahadashini,
Yes.
and Wolf.
yes.
Okay, with that being said, that concludes the business of the emergency meeting. We're up.
Wait, are we gonna have any kind of other concerns or anything?
We
Because I have something
can't,
I'd like to
we can at
briefly
this
adjourn.
one because this one was just an emergency meeting for these 2 things, and that's all that was sent to the newspaper. So at this time, we can't have any other discussion on
Well,
what's...
I would just like to just mention then real quickly that I tried to get in on the Board of Works meeting today because I'm the liaison, and I couldn't get in because you guys changed the format at the last minute, and I would just like to caution us all, even though this is an emergency, that this isn't a dictatorship, and that we all have a voice, and that if we're going to do things in a certain way, we need to stick to it. And also, we have these meetings that are just thrown at us with no chance to voice our concerns on the time or the date, and we just have to go with whatever works around your eye appointment. So I would just please like everybody to know that I'm concerned about that, and I just want to make sure that we're all included.
There's also something that has been floating around that needs to be addressed. I don't know how we're going to do it, but the National Guard there's a rumor that the National Guard is going to be called out, and I've heard it from many different sources. We can't have this, and they're going to,
we need to adjourn this meeting.
We gotta talk about it somewhere.
Okay.
We gotta talk about it somewhere.
This, and I understand all of your concerns, however, under the, what we
Open door
have,
law and under the open door law, the only topics up for discussion and on the agenda were for this resolution and ordinance. I understand that this is a council meeting, but those topics are outside of this, and just a little light on the National
So
Guard.
are we going to get together and discuss anything about what's going on, or is it gonna be limited?
We could do that informally, but we can't do it in efforts to circumvent the open door law. It has to be
I'll try
done.
to call every one of them today,
Right.
throughout the day.
And I can't find the, attachment on the email that gives me the ordinances. I got the, email from Ashley about the meeting, but there wasn't an attachment.
She didn't attach. It was the email I sent you. That was attached.
Yeah.
And I believe I asked you yesterday if you got everything and you stated
Yes. I thought that was, from, did you send it to the other email?
I sent it to the Yahoo.
It's not there from Susan. I thought you were talking about the email that I got from Ashley.
Susan, can you resend that to Pat?
I'll try it again.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Which email do you want to use?
The Yahoo's fine. It's russellp65@yahoo.com.
Yeah. So when I sent it to yesterday or the day before.
I'll check trash and see if it got sent there.
check your junk file,
Hey, thank you.
because every once in a while Yahoo will take, when you get notices and stuff, and will automatically put it in your junk file. And this is for everybody. I find a lot of my emails and stuff that has been rerouted to junk file when it shouldn't have been. So you may, everyone want to check their junk files on that to see, and Patricia, you know, if you didn't get the email that she sent out, just check your junk file and let Susan know whether or not you got it.
Just as a note, the governor did call out the National Guard to help with the logistics. And I'm not sure if our group is going to be called in to help or not.
Well, see, there's a rumor going around, they're gonna lock us down for 30 days in our houses.
No.
No.
That needs to be addressed, so that the people will calm down.
We can't address that because there's no evidence.
Where'd you hear that,
at this
Facebook?
time.
Just tell them I'll
No, from people. I've got it from 2 different people.
I'll
3.
call them all.
Chief Sophianis is saying he will call every board member to address.
They're not going to lock us down.
I
We
didn't
lock
think it, but I
ourselves
kept
down, but
trying
we
to
should
tell them.
lock ourselves down.
Adjourn.
Okay, with that, I'm going to ask,
Calling them to-
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
motion's been made to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I second.
Roll call. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.